Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Elliott Confidential podcast. I'm Christopher Elliott here with my boys, Iden and Aren. How are you guys doing?
Feeling pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah.
All right. We are in Taipei, China. People's Republic? No, not
No,
People's
the Republic of China.
Republic of China, yes. And we have been here for a while now. Lots going on, lots of ground to cover. Glad you're with us here. Our question of the week this week is, what is the favorite hotel that you've ever stayed in? And the reason we're asking is we've stayed in a lot of hotels, and we're going to cover all of those as well. Plus, we have the main attraction in Taiwan. I'm going to tell you about it in a moment, and we're going to show you some really amazing pictures too of the things that we've been doing.
Yeah. So, guys, the hotels we've stayed in.
Ooh, lightning round. Yeah, let's do the lightning round. Okay. Here we are with
the Grand Hotel.
Yes, this is the Grand Hotel.
The historic hotel of the city.
And it's this is the actual size of the hotel is just staggering.
Yeah.
Some interesting things to know about it is it's a little bit out of the way.
Yes.
So if you want to get food or anything like that, you should take their shuttle, which can take you farther into the city.
Yeah.
And also, it's one of the only hotels that has inner rooms, meaning rooms without any windows to see the exterior world.
Yeah, it's a little bit like a cruise ship, really. It was designed in the 1970s, and it is like the main hotel in Taipei. Really incredible. And let's just scroll here to the next photo. This is the general manager showing me the presidential suite, which is the entire. I want to say it's the top floor, but there may be like a little extra floor above it, and it's pretty incredible. Aren, you were with me. You actually took this photo. What did you think of it?
Well, firstly, I think the main attraction, the main selling point rather, of this hotel is it's probably the only hotel in the world styled like a Chinese temple. And it's grandiose. You get lots of space. It is really an experience. I don't think that I've ever seen anything quite like that. It's kind of like being treated like you're a president. It really does feel so official when you go there.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything so official, so polished.
Right, and when I interviewed the general manager, I felt like I was at some kind of a diplomatic event because the interview itself was in Mandarin and there was a translator, and so I felt like I was negotiating a trade deal or something like that.
Yeah. Funny thing, there are a lot of memorabilia from Chiang Kai-shek. Like, I took a photo of Chiang Kai-shek's old desk, which is in the presidential suite.
It's in the suite, right, exactly.
So, go figure.
This hotel is so huge, it actually has its own convenience store in the basement, which I went to a lot.
Yes.
And it has a really huge restaurant. It has several really huge restaurants. Definitely worth seeing. Even if you don't stay there, just go into the lobby and take some pictures.
Yeah.
Definitely worth it. Or go out front and take some photos.
Yeah, and at breakfast they had soda.
That's bizarre. I didn't notice that.
They had soda on tap.
It's definitely worth going to breakfast then.
Yeah, it was yummy.
Continuing right along, we went to the Mandarin Oriental, which is in
This one was good.
Taipei. This one was
very good.
You like this one. What did you like about
We
it?
really like Mandarin Orientals.
Yeah.
We went to one in Bangkok. Great experience.
Yeah.
They truly, take the time. They're very detail oriented.
Yes.
And they'll remember your name. They'll remember what you like, and they'll give you what you like, like food. We like food.
Yes.
So you'll go over to the lounge, and they'll be like, "Oh, Mr. Elliott," which technically we're all Mr. Elliott.
Mr.
Who
Elliott,
cares?
yes.
And they'll be like, "Oh, I saw you got this thing last time. Here's 6 of those. Drink up."
Yeah.
It's very,
So we actually got a tour of the presidential suite here, and this is a picture of you, Iden, enjoying. You look like you're right at home there.
Oh yeah, they told us that that Tom Cruise had stayed there, and I said, "Where did Tom Cruise sit so I can sit in the same spot?"
Yes.
So I sat there.
Yeah.
They also said the same thing for Madonna, but I thought it'd be rude because it's like there's a little connotation there, so I didn't. But Tom Cruise, that's where he sat.
Taylor Swift stayed in that suite.
Madonna stayed there.
Yeah.
Actually, there's a great story of Madonna staying at the Mandarin Oriental, and she had a concert at the nearby arena, and she walked from the hotel to the arena in disguise. So she put like a hood on and walked over there, and the staff was...
Even though now she doesn't really need a disguise with all that plastic surgery. Am I right, guys?
Okay, whatever. Our next hotel was the Grand Hyatt. If you've ever been to Taipei, or you've seen pictures of Taipei, then you're familiar with the huge building called, I believe it's called the 101.
Taipei 101.
Taipei 101.
It's right there, and it is, the Grand Hyatt is a massive hotel, mostly for conventions, but also does quite a bit of leisure business. And this is the lobby of the hotel. It's beautiful. What you can see here as you go up the staircase there, up the escalator, that's all water. So it's kind of like...
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
Well, funny story is we fall into routines so quickly. And speaking of conventions, we kept going to the same grocery store over and over again for 3 or 4 days. And it was to the point where the lady looked at me and she was like, "You come here every day. Are you here for that convention?" And she pointed to the poster behind me. We weren't, but there was like a golfing convention going on.
I've been writing stories about wellness, and the highlight of our visit to the Grand Hyatt was some of the wellness offerings, including, really, this was the best part, I thought. This is the chef with his vegetarian buffet. I could spend an entire podcast talking about this buffet because it was really that good. What did you guys think of the buffet?
It reminded me of home. I mean, I think that one of the problems that you get in a place like Taipei, or even in Japan, is that the food is just so different. And this chef, he really knew how to make you feel at home, in the sense that we felt like we were brought back to the United States, eating delicious California vegetarian food. And that was a great experience. The chef was he said he was from
Singapore.
And Singapore also home of great food. Malaysia, great food. So to be expected.
Yeah. One of the chilies there tasted exactly like the chili we would always make back in the U.S. with the same ingredients, and even the tortilla chips that they had there tasted exactly like the tortilla chips that you get at like Safeway or Kroger's.
So if you want a taste of home, this is the place to go.
We haven't been back to the U.S. in so long, and we just tasted this and we're like, oh my god, it's like we're back in eating in the eating area of Safeway with like some hummus and tortilla chips. It's like,
so if you get like Chinese food fatigue, which it's possible if you stay long enough that you're just like, okay, I can't have a Chinese meal.
Very quickly.
Then you can go to the vegetarian buffet and you can get plenty of food that tastes like back home.
Yeah. Another thing that this guy did, this is how passionate he is he went to the poke bowl bar himself, and he was like, I have a special type of bowl that I like to make, and I want to make it for you. So we didn't even go over to the poke bowl bar, which is a part of the buffet, because he made it for us. And I saw him making it. I was like, what are you doing? He was like, I'm making this bowl for you. I want you to try it the way that I like it. And we had it. It was so good.
It was
this guy is really passionate.
This is a picture here of the helipad at the Grand Hyatt. We went up during the rain. It rained quite a bit. And we're going to talk a little bit later about the rain and the best time to come to Taipei. But this is, you can see the 101 here, and Aren taking a picture in the rain. You could see we're in the middle of everything here. But inside the 101 there is a designer mall, and you can get any kind of, those like Gucci, Versace, things like that. Things that we definitely can't afford on a travel journalist's salary. But nice to walk there, definitely. It's this area here of downtown is not really what Taipei is. It's part of Taipei, but we want to talk a little bit about and then we'll do this in a second. We'll talk about what we really think is the heart of Taipei and what really people should not miss when they come here. This is the hotel we're in right now. This is the Kimpton, and we just checked in here yesterday. It is a smaller boutique hotel, part of the IHG family. What do you guys think of it?
Well, I think that I like the location because you're near a bunch of, department stores. And also you're near the metro station, which is very convenient.
You have 3 Sogo malls, right? Just a quarter mile down.
There are Sogo department stores. And also, I think it's just very convenient. It feels like Taipei, but it's not too big. Like, we were in Shilin District, and that is, big streets, really not too pedestrian friendly, and it's really far to get anywhere. But here, everything is a little bit packed tighter, a little bit more like Japan, I would say. And so that makes it a lot more of an enjoyable experience, especially if you're looking for particular things. I think one of the things that we are looking for is always a tea shop, because they do have a lot of those here, but we'll get to that soon.
We'll get to that in a
Yeah.
second. Let's jump into the actual experience of being in Taipei. Now, this is a picture of us using the metro here, and it is the best way of getting around. Although they're also big into bikes here, but it's a good walking city, but getting around with the metro is super easy. The only thing is that you have to, when you buy one of those transit cards, the only way of topping it up is with cash.
Just like Japan.
Just like Japan, which is extremely frustrating because then you got to go to an ATM, pay the ATM fee. That's very, very bothersome. But the real highlight of Taipei, as Aren alluded to, is the tea. And here to explain more about why Taiwanese tea is so amazing is our very own Aren.
Yes. So I've been looking forward to this for a long time. But the tea experience here in Taiwan is unlike really anything you probably have ever experienced. I don't think that, I mean, there are some places in actually Paris that are a little bit similar where they'll give you a try, but this is something completely different because the experience is very familiar. You walk into a tea shop and the person asks you, not, oh, what do you want to buy? It's like, what do you want to taste? Can I share with you some of the tea? Can you try some? And then they try and make the sale that way. So what they do is they say, oh, what sort of tea would you like to try? And then you say, oh, maybe I'm interested in XYZ tea. And then they sit you down and you try it with them. They make recommendations based on what you say, what you like. And the tea here is actually fairly reasonably priced compared to the foreign prices on foreign markets, obviously. Because you're right here, and they make all of the Taiwanese tea right here in Taiwan in the tea mountains. Now, that's not to get into the different types of tea and the real reason for why Taiwanese tea is some of the best in the world. Because Taiwan, the history of tea cultivation in Taiwan is complicated, but a lot of it comes from nearby provinces of China, so Fujian, for example. And they brought their tea practices here. And in some cases, they ended up creating even better tea. So one example of that is going to be Alishan Jinshuan tea.
I love that stuff.
Alishan Jinshuan tea is also known as buttermilk oolong, or some other names that go around for that. And the reason why is because it has a very buttery, sweet, floral taste. It's very smooth. And it's something that you should definitely try while you're here. It's one of the most famous teas in Taiwan, and if you can, order it online too, because it's worth it. Then there's Sun Moon Lake black tea. So Sun Moon Lake is an actual lake in Taiwan where they produce famous black teas that have a very particular flavor profile. But really, the general tea experience here, if you're looking for excellent teas, is always going to be high altitude teas, and particularly high altitude oolongs. But there are other teas that are worth trying here, of course, but those are the most famous and the most common. I would say if you had two teas to try here, and Iden would disagree with me because I'm excluding his favorite tea, but I'll let him talk about that. Two teas that you have to try here: Alishan Jinshuan tea, which is high mountain oolong from Jinshuan.
Let me guess. Sun Moon Lake tea.
And then Sun Moon Lake black tea. But if you can, don't get Assam, get wild Sun Moon Lake black tea.
Yeah, don't listen to this guy. Get yourself some Dong Ding, because it's a funny name.
It actually, the Dong Ding is good too. Okay,
very good.
All right. Let's describe what it's like to go into a tea shop, because for the uninitiated, going into a tea shop normally is you walk in and maybe there's someone there doing sales.
They let you smell.
That you can smell. Not at a Taiwanese tea shop. So you walk in, and Iden, help me out here. First thing that they do is, actually, I'll tell you because you weren't with us this one time, is if they speak English, they will come over and greet you and say hello, right? Like this guy over here, right? But if they don't speak English, they immediately reach for their phones for Google Translate. And there's a lot of people here who just don't speak any English. Like this woman here. Doesn't speak English.
Still was able to sell you some tea.
Oh, she used to
Oh, that was some great tea that she
some
told us.
really, really good tea. So tell us, what's the experience like?
Well, they're very friendly. I mean, especially the guy you were showing before. He's very friendly. He showed us was it 4 different teas? And originally we were just going to try 2. He was like, ooh, speaking of,
Yeah, we
you
got
should
a
try
lot
this
of tea. We
tea.
got a lot
And
of
then he
tea
mentioned
from
another
them,
tea. He was
yes.
like, oh, speaking of, we have that tea. Well, you need to try it too. And he was like, oh, thank goodness you mentioned it in that order, so that way we can have it in the correct order, because there's a specific order.
Right,
you
you
have to try the
start
teas,
with
and
the-
you start with the least caffeinated
light.
to the most caffeinated, because if you have like a bitter tea, and then you try one that doesn't have much bitterness in it, you're going to barely taste it.
And with the purer tea, the really strong stuff.
Really
yeah.
strong stuff. And it was a great experience.
Yeah,
and
well,
they
this guy
make
here,
the tea very well.
He was 3rd generation.
Yeah,
so
third gen-
these guys they've been doing it for a long
And they
time.
have their own specialty. All the tea shops, they have their own specific tea that they make and only they make, and they're like, oh, this is the best tea.
Yes.
We make the best tea.
Everyone makes the best tea.
Those other guys, they're not as good as our tea. We make the best one.
Right.
And in that same shop, we were actually seeing his mother de-stem a bunch of teas to go into the tea bags for the restaurants. And speaking of restaurants, when you have the teas from the restaurants, oftentimes it's stem tea, and they sell that here. And then the bud of the tea is where you buy it for special occasions. So it's very interesting to see that.
Here's Aren with our friend Carolyn over at the Grand Hyatt, and they have a tea tasting experience too. It's a little bit more high end, but they're very proud of that, and they have several different types that you don't find somewhere else. I found, I know I'm going to mispronounce this, Lapsang Souchong tea, but they don't pronounce it like that. They pronounce it differently.
Yeah.
Very, very strong.
Yeah. Well, Lapsang Souchong is, I think, from Cantonese, but they pronounce it different in Mandarin. And of course, if you think about the way that you pronounce it, if you were to read a Chinese word, you wouldn't pronounce it that way. You pronounce it like it's French, but
Yes.
it's actually Chinese, but it's actually Cantonese. So
That gets very confusing very quickly. Anyway, if you're into tea, you have to come here. One thing that we haven't really talked about is the bubble tea. The bubble tea is pretty spectacular because they're using really good tea in it. And the bubbles they invented bubble tea here. So if you come to Taiwan, try the bubble tea as well. If you have kids and grandkids and they want to try something new or different, and the bubble tea here really is it's unlike anything I've ever had. So
Cheap too.
bubble tea, yes, very very
It's like
reasonable.
$1.
Really cheap.
It is an institution. So who should visit Taiwan and when should they visit? Aren, do you have any thoughts on who would be like the ideal visitor to Taiwan, at least to Taipei?
Well, people visiting conventions, firstly.
Yeah.
Then people who really like Taiwanese tea, which is, you've got to try it. Trust me, it's worth it. And then there are people who want to visit China, but they don't want to visit China. So for whatever reason, cinephiles, I think that those are the kinds of people that would want to visit this place.
Isn't that Hong Kong for cinephiles?
Yeah, you could go to Hong Kong too. Yeah.
Sino refers to just all of China, so.
Oh, sinophiles.
Yeah,
I thought you were
cinephile.
talking about a cinephile.
No.
Cinephile for movies.
Okay. Our question of the week this week is, what's the favorite hotel? What's your favorite hotel that you've ever stayed in? We went through 4 hotels that we stayed in here, and it's impossible for us to choose our favorite, but there is one hotel that I think we can all agree on that we love, and that is
The Clement.
the Clement.
Yes.
The Clement. There's a place called
Silicon
the Clement
Valley.
in Palo Alto, California. That is our favorite hotel. It's really not so much a hotel as it is a bed and breakfast or an inn, but it's an all-inclusive property.
Well, you go downstairs and there's a private chef. Well, not really private. It's for the whole hotel.
We were there one
right?
night. I was doing a story about it, and it was the thing that I loved about it is that you walk in and you really feel like you're at home.
Yeah.
They say, "Oh, hey, look, there's a pool upstairs, and the kitchen's out back. And if you want something, just go in the refrigerator and get it, and the chef will be happy to make you a burger." And I remember you, Iden, you and your sister went up to the roof, laid out by the pool, and the chef made you a burger.
No, we went to the pool, we went downstairs, and then we got a burger.
Okay,
It was very good. Very good burger. I said, make the burger with extra salt. And he said, that's probably not healthy, but I'll make it anyway. And it was a very good burger.
All right. In our last podcast, we asked the question, what is the sickest that you've ever gotten on the road? And we had a couple of very interesting and gut-wrenching, can I say, answers. George says, I ate an empanada on the street in Santiago, Chile, and got terrible food poisoning.
Oof.
Yikes.
All right. Point of singularity says, most unwell, laryngitis and Siem Reap, and the cortisone meds the hotel doctor gave me.
Oh, that made the point even sicker.
Oi.
I like that username, the point of singularity.
Let's just call her the point.
Yes. Okay. What's the first name is the point,
Yes.
and the last name is of singularity. Okay.
Gotta know.
Captain Hawthorne says the most unwell was in Libya, in a place called Marsa Briga, but didn't say what made him unwell.
Come on, we need to hear the drama.
We need more drama.
We need the tea.
The most well is in Bolivia.
You said
and
most unwell.
The most
Most
well in Bolivia. That's interesting because Bolivia is at such a high altitude. I would have probably at that altitude would have been. Although I don't know if Cochabamba
At that altitude, I'd be like,
yes, Bolivia is. You can get high in Bolivia.
you get high off the oxygen deprivation.
Please don't forget the question of the week, which is, what's your favorite hotel? We'll read your answers in our next podcast, which will be coming to us from Okinawa, Japan. We're going back to Japan. Just couldn't stay away.
Yeah, Japan's nice,
Yeah. Okay.
We're going there during rainy season. It's not going to be very fun.
Yeah, I know.
This is like a median place. We have to be there for a little bit before we go off to.
It's a little rainy.
You'll find out.
It's a little rainy here too. Anyway, all right. See you next time. Bye.
Bye bye.